Can I chime in? One of the nice things is if you don't have a sales process already, as a great many contractors do not, if you just rely on talking to the customer, trying to convey that you're an expert on the topic, and then as many of the traditional sales processes go, you show them the features of your equipment. This is a much better script to follow, and you don't have to do it word for word. Nobody wants to do a word for word presentation. That's stiff. The customer knows it. It's uncomfortable. This is simply a method, a process that those words get used pretty frequently, but it's a process of helping the customer decide what their goals are through the use of questions, offering some tests, and if they decline the tests, that's recorded, and then the responsibility is theirs for not having that discovery made during the process. And it helps you go from point A to point B to the end so that you can then offer the customer some options, which is what everybody does. But this is a nice, straightforward path to follow. And there's a little room for deviation, but once you're comfortable with it, it's very easy to make it your own. Put it in your own words. Tanner, I don't hear you. Are you muted?
Oh, I'm accidentally muted myself. Thanks. But I mean, really, it ties in similar to really anything. Like any large scale business always has like systems and processes, SOPs, things to that nature for people to follow. And the whole purpose is to have repeatable results. And I mean, let's step outside of just this in particular, but just take what we do as a business. If you have a SOPs and processes and systems for your service techs for when they go out to do a service call, if there's already here's the way that our company does. We don't have every single tech doesn't have his own way of doing things. If it's really uniform, it makes things more repeatable. You can then shape the actual branding and image that your company showcases. It makes it to where if you run into problems, it's like, hey, for some reason we keep running into issues here. You can easily or more easily find what those problems are and correct them because okay, everybody's doing this, and we all run into this same problem, so you can narrow in as to what happened and why, and for those corrections. And so, I mean, it's not just for sales, but that kind of applies to anything and everything within business. And I think that's
so
really
I'm hearing that Nexstar has service cards. And apparently those service cards are pretty awesome for the techs because they basically lay out a repeatable process every time. Now, they don't have to follow that process, but they have to get the information. So long as their manager's doing their job, he's training the techs to make sure that they get the information. And if they want to deviate from the process periodically because, you got to work, you're on, who knows what's going on at the house or with the homeowner. But at the end of the day, you get to go back to that ticket and make sure that, it's like the checklist manifesto and following a checklist before you take an airplane off the runway. You have a process that's repeatable and documented, then you know that you've done your side of the job. And that's kind of what we did with the Comfort Consult, but we didn't do it with the free quote. And so we left everybody vulnerable for what at that time was 70 to 80% of their leads. And now that we've done free quote and you guys are running it, well, at least with Reedy's feedback, more than 90% of his leads now are going free quote.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And Ted, you mentioned the tech side of it, because a lot of techs would rather fix things than talk to customers, and this gives
Yes.
them it gives them a really solid way to talk to customers, and
Show interest.
it's in language for both of them. The tech doesn't have to become a salesman.
Right.
He is in fact becoming a salesman, but without feeling like he's wearing a plaid sports coat
Right.
and white slacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as salesman in the good sense, as in what it actually should be, not
Consultant.
not in a situation of salesman of being the guy that goes in and convinces people to buy things that they don't need. And
Yes.
that type of thing, which is two separate things. And I think that's really
What's
what
it going to
a lot of
take
techs
to
hate.
get you to make a decision today?
Yes.
Right. I got to go check with my manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a comfortable way for a technician to talk to a customer about a sale without having to feel that they're putting pressure on anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing, and talking to people about the Nexstar service card, the only things that we need that sound like they're missing are the 4 questions quiz and taking static pressure every time.